Well, we are officially live, so this is great. So let's go back. We've got gyms who small business loans might take some time to
Yep.
get in. So we need to figure out how to pivot our business. As a gym owner, you need to figure out how to pivot your business so that you can stay afloat when times get a little bit tougher than probably they are right now, right? So we have to get creative, right? What we were talking about before is some gyms are streaming their stuff virtually through like a business page. And at that point, you're not going to see who's watching it. You can't control who's watching it. You can't track who's watching it. So someone could say they got hurt watching your Facebook Live doing your workout, and then they sue you. What happens?
Yeah, and that's going to be, another freaking thing you got to deal with, and it's going to be, it's going to be a pain in the ass to defend it the whole time out of your day, getting data, dealing with freaking honest attorneys, all that horse shit, So that's my 2 cents.
I think the biggest thing is, like what we're doing, and I talked to you about this before, is, we're offering virtual classes via Zoom so we can actually see people, kind of coach them, really cheer them through a workout. But we're seeing our members, they've already signed waivers, they're used to the workouts. Right now it's a lot easier because it's all body weight stuff, but at the end of the day, they're paying members of our facility that are doing our live classes.
Correct.
Would you give any advice to gyms who are doing live classes and moving to a virtual platform? What advice, as an insurance company, what would you give them?
Yeah, just the same old. Make sure waivers are in place for all your athletes. Use that thing in between your ears for the programming, and go on this platform for the next foreseeable future to keep, your community together and revenue coming through your facility.
Yeah, so we got to find a way to keep our clients engaged. Virtual classes, our clients are loving it. We posted today about a virtual happy hour that I completely stole from Push Press, which I thought was a lovely idea. So we're going to do a virtual happy hour, like cheers, water, whatever you want, at the end of a workout, which I think is awesome, right?
That's awesome.
People need to feel that community. So whatever way you can provide that community, I think is really important. We have to, most of us want to grow our business. So figuring out a virtual way to offer online coaching, accountability, and support for new people that want that maybe their gym is closed and not offering anything anymore. Would that be possible? Could I have a new member sign up for our facility and sign a waiver, and then they're completely fine to be working with us, and if something were to happen, it's okay?
I would say yes on that. I would like to see, well, you touched on this too, body weight movement here. We're not freaking deadlifting a house or anything like that. And, just some form of communication, you as the coach with this athlete to see how well they move, the lack thereof, waivers in place, get it going.
So one of the things we had talked about before is kind of one of our ideas is if people want to bypass our quote unquote on-ramp program because we're not using barbells, all of our workouts are body weight movements for the next foreseeable future. People can do RX versions, adding a kettlebell if they've rented or checked one out, or they had one at home already. But essentially you could onboard new people easier than you did before because it's all body weight movements. It's a lower barrier of entry to get started at your gym, right?
Yeah, a hell of a lot less intimidating than a barbell.
Absolutely. So, that's a good option. I just kind of brought up something, a lot of gym owners right now are talking about renting equipment, checking out equipment. That's my husband kept telling me, correcting me, like, hey, we're checking out equipment. People are not paying to rent equipment. I'm like, yes, check out like a book in the library or checking out something.
A very heavy book.
A very heavy book. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
What do people need to know about that? What kind of liability insurance, what do people need to know about checking out equipment?
So once this equipment leaves your facility, you need to have some form of contractual stuff in place with your athletes where when it's in their care, custody, and control, that's their baby. They're responsible for it. So basically you break it, you buy it, you lose it, you buy it. I would also like Maybe copy and paste your indemnity section on your waiver on that contract with that athlete, have them sign off on it and file it and move on with life. I had a conversation today with Jim I insure right down the street from me, and what they're going to do is when they check out a piece of equipment, they bring that back every Saturday and they get another piece of equipment. So like 1 week a med ball, 1 week a kettlebell, 1 week whatever. So that's what they're using.
Perfect. I mean, 1 week, that's what we're doing too. Like 1 week at a time, who knows how long. What if you've run out of kettlebells and you've got a waiting list of people that want kettlebells? You want to be able to kind of switch it up for people. So
yeah, then they just prescribe the workouts per that piece of equipment, right?
For sure. Absolutely. And we're doing all of our stuff body weight and saying like, if you want to make this an RX plus version, grab a weight and do it with, do your 150 sit-ups with a weight. I personally am glad I didn't do that yesterday because my stomach is already pretty sore with our workout, but you could like make your body weight movements harder by adding in a kettlebell or a weight and make it a little bit more challenging for people.
Right.
Someone is asking, can you send a form to us? So, we kind of talked about this before, but, think keeping it simple, putting what you already have on your waiver is what you were saying. Anything else you want to talk about with when people are saying equipment rentals?
Yeah, I would just say on that piece of paper, you are responsible for this. Like I said, you break it, you buy it, you lose it, you buy it. Have them responsible for that piece of equipment in their care, custody, and control.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let's talk about, one of the conversations we had before, like, should gyms stay open? Should gyms go, close down? I just did a podcast with Jason Ackerman that's going to be released on his podcast tomorrow. And he's like, you know what? Gym owners need to stop being irresponsible and just shut down. We shut down our gym on Monday ahead of the curve. Gyms are in our local area are being forced to shut down now. But let's talk about it. Like, what if someone gets hurt and your gym was forced to shut down, but you went in and did personal training? Then what happens?
I don't like it. I mean, you guys are going to you guys are going to do what you're going to do regardless. I personally am not a fan of this. I mean, there's a reason the government has mandated where we are at today. Just play by the rules, suffer through it, and we'll get over this shit and move on with life. That's my 2 cents.
I think the sooner people like take action and figure out what's best for your community, and if you're being asked to shut down, just pivot and turn to a virtual platform, provide your clients accountability and support. And I think the biggest struggle that gyms are holding on to is they don't have enough cash flow to support closing and their members canceling, which is why they're not closing down. I mean, if I look at every gym that I've talked to, that's one of the main reasons why they're not closing, but they're not talking about communicating the value that they can provide in a virtual platform, which is going to be a problem because at some point you're going to have to close.
Yeah, that's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. I agree.
So if you're a gym owner listening and you have been mandated to close down and someone gets hurt in your facility, it's not going to be good for you, is what Vaughn is saying, first and foremost. Vaughn, let's talk about park workouts. Yeah. What about, I mean, more and more gyms are trying to get creative. I get it. Park workouts, you're a little bit further away, maybe not. Can they do park workouts?
I got no problems with that. You might want to hire another coach, or have another coach there doing the 6 foot social distancing, or that's a big fat no rep. No, but yeah, that's, and again, you could get in trouble with your local Parks and Rec department if you're out there doing that. You might want to check the boxes to see if that's an okay thing to do.
So find out first. I mean, truthfully, if you do a park workout and you bring equipment, I don't think you're being responsible because we know that the virus lives on metal for 4+ days. So there's just I don't see gym owners cleaning their gym or cleaning the equipment that well. So if you're going to do a park workout, make it strictly body weight stuff. People can get a great workout with body weight movements. And then practicing social distancing, hopefully you really do that if you do a park workout for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read some of these comments here. We had an athlete get escorted off the track yesterday by a Broward sheriff. Okay, so if you are in Broward, our local area, you are not going to be doing that.
There you have it.
All right, so look at your local jurisdiction for sure. All right, so parks, maybe not, depending on your area. I think more and more areas are becoming responsible. I think also, Vaughn, we were kind of talking about this before. Gyms are not keeping their gyms clean enough to really control the virus if you're keeping your gym open, especially the ones what I have seen people post is like, we're going to limit the class size, but you can come to open gym.
Yeah.
So if you come to open gym and people aren't cleaning the stuff, how's that?
That's a lot of stuff, man. It has to take a minute or two cleaning them rigs off and all the barbells and dumbbells, kettlebells, all the things,
Yeah, and the problem is you're not out there controlling what they're touching. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And people aren't cleaning their stuff as well as I'm sure enough to keep the virus not existent on the stuff. Okay, so we understand where we're at with that. I think the next big thing, Vaughn, I want to bring up, obviously we help gyms implement nutrition. Like that's really our focus. That's where our niche is. But more and more gyms now are realizing like, hey, we have to go beyond just CrossFit. We have to go beyond just group fitness classes and personal training, personalized programming, because at the end of the day, like people are going to need more than that. From the very beginning, what we've been talking about is let's focus on what we can control. Sleep, stress management, nutrition, exercise, like all of those things together are going to help people stay healthy and decrease their risk of, catching this virus. So more and more gyms are talking about nutrition, adding nutrition, accountability support. Where's your stance on that?
Are you saying you can't out-train a good diet?
I don't know. That's what they tell us.
That's what they tell us. So when it comes to the nutritional end of the stick, you got your hot states, right? Where you have to have, what's the terminology? It just slipped my mind.
Yeah, so you have to have a registered dietitian. So I'll link this while you're talking. I'll find the link. But you have to have a registered dietitian to be involved with your program. For instance, in Florida, right? On Monday, I had a person on our live that has a gym owner. She's a gym owner in Florida, took Precision Nutrition, great certification, think it's awesome. Started implementing nutrition. 6 weeks later, she gets a cease and desist in the mail because she was implementing a nutrition program, not giving out customized information, not doing meal plans, not providing medical nutrition therapy. She was charging for nutrition in Florida without a dietitian, and that is not legal in Florida, as well as every red state. Yep. So if we're not in a red state, talk to me about nutrition.
So the guidelines that the powers that be that I work with have told me, if you're basically doing macro-based nutrition, you're not going to tell them I'm going to cure you of this illness with my awesome skill set. We're going to be good on that. If you guys go out of that realm, you might want to think about a different insurance policy that specifically covers the nutritional end of the stick. Now, if kind of where the fine line is where you got someone that's a 1099 and all they have is a nutritional certificate, period, point blank, that's it. You're going to want to have them have their own insurance listing you as an additional insured. If it's one of your coaches that has, an L1, USAW, whatever, then the liability would extend.
An L1 or a coach, because we were talking about this before too, or a coach that's gone through our program that's overseen by a dietitian, because a lot of our gyms might not have a coach that is passionate about nutrition that would make a great nutrition coach, but they have a member who's like an amazing nutrition coach that's passionate about nutrition. So they might have them play that role. They might not coach. And I think that's totally fine. Our program, you're overseen by a dietitian. So you're good to go with us. But if you are a gym who does not work with a dietitian, you are going to find yourself in some trouble if you're implementing in a red state, implementing nutrition. That's any nutrition coaching and charging for it, which we can dive into this in a second. But if you're losing members at your gym because you are not offering virtual support and aren't offering the services you were before, and not advertising the value that you are providing them now, you have to figure out a different way to have revenue, right?
Right.
I mean, you and I both work with gym owners. Like, we need to do everything we possibly can to help them like see the other side of this, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely. I mean, this is talking right to the lifeblood right here. I mean, that's bottom line.
I think it's just really important that gym owners, at the end of the day, and this is the same thing that I've repeated myself 150 times over the past couple of days, is you have to have a plan and communicate that plan to your staff. So understand the scope, which basically you're saying, if you're renting out equipment, have a waiver that they sign. Don't post live workouts on a public page, because if someone gets hurt and then sues you, you can't even be sure that they were watching. I mean, you have no idea who watches your stuff. Make sure that they've filled out a waiver so you've covered your own self, right? And then in regards to nutrition coaching, you'll make sure that you're practicing within your scope. I put the link in the chat with the states and the laws, so it's easy to look at that. But I think people just need to be educated on what's in scope and what's out of scope, right?
Yep.
What are you seeing? I mean, you were talking to me earlier, like, Nicole, I've talked to gym owners for 12 hours a day. Like, what are some gym owners doing well? That when the gym owners that you're talking to, they're doing well, what are they doing?
They're implementing all the plans and this medium for online programming. This is the next platform for God knows how long it's going to be, you know. And they've already hit the ground running, getting everything set up, having their coaches lined out on the who, why, what, where, how, lanes, all that good stuff. And that's what I've been seeing.
Yeah, so you're providing virtual coaching, but then you're also adding this layer. What we're telling gyms to do is add this layer of accountability and support. Are you checking in with your members? Do they have a touch point from a coach on a regular basis to make sure they're staying on track? Because the truth is, it's not just affecting you. Everyone's routines are completely gone right now. Like, people are working from home that have never worked from home before. Kids are out of school for the next month plus, which is putting a whole nother situation, because you're essentially trying to work while you're trying to teach your kids school, which is mind-blowing how we're going to do this.
A whole new appreciation for teachers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. A whole new appreciation for teachers. So, I think it's really important to figure out and help people figure out what their new normal is, right? And just keep them accountable and get them on a routine. And as a gym owner, I think you have a really cool opportunity, especially in CrossFit. We have amazing communities. Like, we need to preserve that community and then have individual support. So what does the preservation of community mean? Having live events, having like virtual live events. I think we talked a little bit before, but we're going to have a happy hour at HSN, virtual happy hour at 6:30 tonight with our members to join the Zoom link. And because we love Zoom, I should have invested in Zoom. To join our Zoom link to just say hi and connect with each other, because we're all missing out on that social interaction right now, right?
Oh, that's a huge part of it, right? I mean, just showing up, high-fiving your buddies, seeing your friends, and she gone. That's an awesome idea.
I mean, I think, and what we're telling our members too is, if you can't do the live class at 5:30, hop on at 5:30 and at least do the question of the day so you can chat with some people, say hi to your friends, and then hop off when we start the warm up and the workout, or hop on in the last 10 minutes when you can see people as they finish and we're chatting at the end of the workout. So I think you really need to build time into those 60-minute live classes where you have community at the front end, community at the back end, and then you as a coach are just really kind of the cheerleader guiding people through a workout, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you what would you say to gym owners right now, like from an insurance perspective, like anything that we should be thinking about to make sure that we do or do not do?
I think I touched on just how, like what you say, the new normal is going to be like. Um, I understand everybody's model is different. Everybody's vision is different. If I didn't touch on anything that you have specific questions on, hit me up at the office or flip me an email. I'll be more than happy to address any questions on that end of the stick. It's crazy with this business interruption end of the stick. It's going to be really interesting to see how the federal government steps in and negotiates this with these insurance companies. It's going to be really interesting to see.
Because there's a lot of other factors that go into play, right? You have salaried employees. You have, I mean, I don't know too many gyms that have salaried employees, but you have coaches that rely solely on your income for their income. So how are you preserving that? I did a live webinar with Zen Planner earlier, but what I would look at if you're thinking like, hey, I'm not really sure what to do about paying my staff is I would triage, and the first layer of that staff that you need to keep and support the most are the ones that this is their full-time position, or like this is their only source of income to live, and figure out how can they provide value to your members that is beyond a virtual class. So those weekly check-ins, that's what our coaches are doing. They're blocking out a few hours on Thursdays and Fridays to check in with our client list. So every single person has that touch point. They're getting paid their coaching hourly rate, the $25 an hour to do that. And I think it's important to figure out, like, it's a math game at the end of the day, right? Like, how much did you pay for coaches for coaching all of your classes? You're not coaching those classes anymore. So how much money do you have allocated to paying coaches to support your members? Because at the end of the day, you supporting your members is going to help with member retention. I told you this before we jumped on the live, but I was talking to Z from Barbells for Boobs for yesterday, and she said that one of the gyms she was talking to lost 60% of their members overnight. And
Damn.
This is going to be crippling for many gyms if they do not communicate what their plan is to provide support for their clients virtually. And I think that's the biggest message here is you have to over communicate and say things 100 times. I mean, I've repeated myself every day, all day, and it's still something new triggers with someone and they're like, oh, thanks for saying that, right? I mean, I'm sure you're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, big time. So how does this look? Does your coach shoot them text messages? They calling them? How does that look?
For HSN, we built the HSN app, right? So all of our clients are getting added to the app, and then we have habits that you can put on a client's profile. So each week each day when they log into the HSN app, a habit pops up. So depending on what that client wants to focus on or what they're going to commit to is what that habit's going to be. So let's say someone is like, my main focus is to just get into a routine of exercising regularly and doing these, jumping on the 5:30 live classes 3 days a week. Okay. Let's figure out what days, those 3 days a week, what days are those going to be? Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Perfect. So we can put in the app a habit that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, join the 5:30 class, and they can hit mark complete. And then we can see at the end of the week, did they do what they said they were going to do? And that at the end of the day, I think is the most important value you can provide these clients in a virtual setting is, you're not coaching them like you used to coach them. You're cheering them through a workout and providing them a group atmosphere to do a workout. Your value is the personalized attention and support that you're providing your clients through a platform like ours, or managing your clients through Google Sheets, which is what some people are doing. I mean, however you're going to manage UpLaunch, Zen Planner, PushPress, all these platforms have ways to manage clients, but you need to figure out how you're going to manage them and execute that, right?
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I mean, what kind of questions for you guys listening? What kind of questions do you guys have for us? I mean, the main stuff was insurance for business being down. That's not going to be covered. Federal government's going to have to get involved in some way, shape, or form. Go through your books, guys. Like, the cash flow is going to be a problem. You need to figure out what you can cut and what you cannot cut. Like, what services are providing the most amount of value? I mean, we're still getting people signed up for HSN because they're seeing us as their member retention strategy, them offering nutrition, adding additional support so that they can help their clients. You need to go through, like, if your AC is constantly on and your gym is closed, turn your AC off. If your lights are always on, make sure those are off. Like, what expenses are you having right now that you don't necessarily need to have? You're going to have additional expenses. Zoom is, I mean, it's pretty cheap, but you need the pro version of Zoom. You have to have that because that's how you're going to have all of your classes. If you don't have the pro version, you just have the basic version, it's going to cut you off at 40 minutes. And that's when your community time is. So that's not going to be good for your members, right? So, you know, any other kind of thoughts on cutting off excessive cash expenditure? I mean, FitAid subscriptions, like, you're probably not going through a bunch of FitAid right now if you're having that as a monthly subscription, or, you know, other types of protein subscriptions that are being delivered to your gym. I know there's protein supplement companies that are doing house fulfillments, which I think is a really smart idea because you're not opening up your gym for people to pick up supplements. But I think you really need to figure out what expenses you have that you don't really need right now. Vaughn, anything else that you kind of can think of?
No, I think that's about it for the current state of the union of where we're at. Like I said, if you guys got any specific questions that I didn't touch on, I'm always available.
So I'm going to tell a story before we get off about how you're always available. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. It was 4th of July weekend, and my husband and I went on the boat, and then we went to sleep, and at like 2 a.m, he went up to the bathroom, and I looked at my phone, and both of us had like 10 missed calls, text messages, all this stuff from our members, and then the police department. And what scared me the most was someone Jason worked with at the fire department. So I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Call these people back. Someone was messing around in our parking lot, a kid, and was doing donuts, lost control of his car, and literally took his car through our garage, right? Like, you can't make that up. You just can't. It went through our garage into the rig, messed up our entire rig, right? That was cemented to the wall. And so we get there at 3 a.m, whatever time it was, 3 a.m, and to the gym. And our members, who are unbelievably amazing, had waited until they got there. They weren't going to leave. Even though the police were there, they did not leave until we got there. So we get there and we're like, what the heck? We had cameras in the gym, but you're not going to see who ran. Like, the kid went into the gym and then left really fast. So we got nothing except a video from the nest inside that said, like, you know, you could hear them say, oh crap, we just ran in, and then they lifted up the bay door, snuck the car out, and then they all took off, right? So I'm freaking out, obviously, because now we have all this damage to our gym. And so you're our insurance provider. Sure enough, I call you at 6 a.m. and you answer your dang phone. Which I don't know if that says anything about an insurance company. I don't know anyone else that would do that. And I don't know if maybe I sent you a Facebook message to get your phone number, but I don't know. It was well before 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning that we were on the phone, because you're like obviously there to help first and help through the situation. Yeah, that was an adventure for sure.
That was crazy.
I feel like we're going to leave people on the hook if they don't know what happened. Well, so if you want to know what happened, we had someone send us a YouTube link, and they put it on, someone was taping the whole thing, put it on YouTube, and then blurred out the license plate. At some point, they unblurred the license plate. We got the license plate, hunted the kid down, and went to his house. My husband and I went to his house and knocked on the door, talked to his mom, and the mom and dad, the dad was a retired cop, came to the gym, and they paid us for our damages. But that was an adventure. And I can't say enough, like, you gave us peace at this time. And I hope at this time, for people that are just as stressed as I was in that moment, that we can give them peace, right?
Yeah, this is a crazy time right now.
All right, we've got one question I want to answer. So give me 1 second, let me read it. But can you have Vaughn talk about what is needed insurance-wide for training new clients you acquire over the next several weeks online? Is there a rough estimate of the cost to add insurance to the gym?
That will not be any additional cost to you. Like I say, just get waivers in place, do some super easy programming, starting them out so you kind of get a gauge of how proficient they move or the lack thereof, and take it from there.
So I think the most important thing, Vaughn, is because if people are just programming and sending virtual programming, is that covered? Or we're talking, I mean, what we were talking about before was like Zoom. So doing like personal training sessions through Zoom like this so you can see people move. What if they're just sending, they sign up a new client and they're sending them virtual programming? Is that covered?
Yes.
So if you're not seeing them through Zoom and you're sending them virtual fitness programming, they're good to go.
Yes.
Okay. If you're adding nutrition, you want to make sure that you are good within your state and practicing within your scope, because if you are practicing nutrition out of your scope without a dietitian involved, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And that's nothing on, I mean, your insurance is not going to cover that because they broke the law.
Yeah.
So if you get the cease and desist, like this person that I interviewed on Monday, you're going to find yourself having a problem. With gyms using our program, it's not a problem because it's written and backed by dietitians, but it would be a problem for gyms that are trying to diversify their revenue streams, which is what you should be doing, right? Like we're still having people sign up for our gym for nutrition coaching right now. So you've got to think outside the box. How are you going to provide value? I do think this is a lower barrier of entry for new clients, because essentially they could join a gym maybe without on-ramp because they're joining virtual classes that are all body weight, right?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. One other question Nick asked is True Coach type of program covered? So I think True Coach, like basically programming personal training for people, is that covered? You're saying yes.
Using their platform and regurgitating it to your athletes?
I think True Coach is just like a sugar watt type thing. You program the workouts in there.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Does it matter within state laws? Can you have people all over, or do you need local people?
Right now, I would prefer if it was in your domiciled state. If it becomes a thing where you're doing stuff outside of your state, we should probably have a conversation of what that volume is going to look like and make a decision from there.
Okay, so if you are practicing virtual coaching with people out of your state, you should, and you use Affiliate Guard, you need to reach out to them.
Yep.
You guys. Okay. Vaughn, sorry about the struggles earlier trying to get you on through the other platform, but you know what? This is a great experience of how things are not going to work out all the time, and they don't have to be perfect, and your followers and your tribe is completely okay, and we'll be a little bit more forgiving than normal, right? Like we're all learning here.
Yeah, we all are learning here for sure.
All right, guys. Well, here we have it. Vaughn says, get a waiver for your checkout of equipment. You need to apply for small business loans if that's something that you need, because they are not covering loss of income with your gym. Yep. And if you are doing nutrition, make sure you're practicing within your scope. If you are doing park workouts, make sure everyone signs a waiver. Be careful if you're doing park workouts. Clearly in our area, you're not doing park workouts in South Florida. Apparently, I don't want to be taken away. One last thing, Vaughn, is if a gym is told to close and they stay open, someone gets hurt, you're not going to be liable. Or you will. You don't know.
So what you're saying is the city shuts you down, but you don't shut down and you're still training people and someone gets hurt?
Yep.
Just shut it down. I mean, I haven't had any correspondence from my carriers saying if your city or state shuts you down and you're still conducting your business practices, if someone gets injured, they're going to tell you to pound sand. I have not seen any of that come through my desk. So, just use your best judgment as a business owner, especially through this trying time we're going through right now.
Everyone's scared about, losing income. Like, I get it, but if you do the right thing, like good things will happen to you. Just stay positive, and your community is looking for a leader now more than ever. Be that shining light in a dark time for people. Like, post positive things, post workout, home workouts, post nutrition tips, recipes, like share what you're doing. Create a community and that wants to follow you and is motivated to stay on track and find a new normal with you.
Yep.
That's what you need. All right. Well, Vaughn, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoy it.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. I'm sorry again for the little mishap with the live streaming, but I'm glad we got you.
Happen, I can assure you.
You know what? We got you on. People ask their questions. Now I'm going to go share it to all the groups.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Appreciate you.